Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carlina Davis of Spilling the Sweet Tea. And if you can't guess it, baby, today we're making collard greens. Let me show you how to do it. Now, baby, if this is your first time this holiday season making staples like collard greens, mac and cheese, and they're handing over the apron to you, let me show you how I do it my way. We cook our collard greens with cooking meat. But you can cook your collard greens with whatever you want. You don't even have to put meat in your collard greens. I say in my house, swine is fine. The first one is smoked neck bones. That's a classic. Any type of smoked meat in your collard greens is gonna give it a really good flavor. But if you don't eat pork and you want turkey in your collard greens, you can use turkey drumstick or a smoked turkey wing. The last type of meat you can put in your collard greens are ham hocks. Ham hocks cook down really well in collard greens. You can score the ham hocks so the meat is exposed and cooks down really well in the collard greens. This is the meat that I use. In Eastern North Carolina, where I'm from, we use cooking meat. My Aunt Millie, thank you Aunt Millie, bought me a bag of cooking meat from the good old Piggly Wiggly. My mother would always wash it and get that, she would call it sludge. That's the Shirley May way. She would just get some of that gunk off. I mean, it's pork, but she would wash it and she would just take a small knife, a small paring knife, and get that off. So you want to get you a big pot. I have a Dutch oven, doesn't matter. You can just use a big pot. And I'm going to add in my cooking meat. I don't like a lot of meat throughout my collard greens. That's just my way. When you grow up in Eastern North Carolina, we don't have an abundance of meat in our collard greens, but it's up to you. So you got your cleaned cooking meat in. You want to add some water. And I add enough water just to cover my meat. That's about 6 cups of water. You want to let it cook down. If you need more water, you can always add more water. My seasonings are simple. I'm not seasoning chicken, collard greens, okay? So I just do salt, pepper, garlic powder. I don't put vinegar in it. I don't put brown sugar in it. It's just salt, pepper, garlic powder, and the flavoring of the smoked meat. It's simple. It's the Eastern North Carolina way. It's the Shirley May way. I'm going to stick with it every time. This cooking meat is salty, so you don't want to add too much salt. About 2 teaspoons. I measure with my heart. You know, my ancestors, my mama speak to me and say, stop. I stop. About a teaspoon of black pepper goes in. And then I like roasted garlic powder. I like garlic in mine. You have to put a little oil. Just a little. That's it. Just a little drizzle. That's all you need. And if you want a little kick, a little heat, you can add some crushed red pepper. Just a little bit. Don't go crazy because, you know, just a little sprinkle. That's it. You just want to put this on the stove and let this cook down until the meat is tender and falling off the bone a little bit. And it will continue to cook as the collard greens cook. Key. The key thing when you're making collard greens is they got to be clean. Don't nobody want no gritty greens, okay? Gritty greens are not it. You have to wash collard greens thoroughly. They come out the dirt, okay? When my mama would clean collard greens, I grew up, my mother had a garden in the backyard. She would ask me to bring collard greens in. There can be bugs on your collard greens. And baby, these collard greens had a BBL or something. They are huge. I got them from Food Lion and they look amazing, but they're pretty big. But she would like smack her greens on her hand to knock off any bugs. And I still do it, even though I know I got these from the grocery store, because it's nostalgic, you know, because she would do it her way. I always remove the stems. You can leave your stems on if you want. These are your greens. You can do it the way you want, but my way is to remove the stems. So I pinch the green like this and then move up the leaf. And I take all that stem out. This is what I'm left with. So I'm just gonna wash these. And this is a process. This is why people don't like making greens, because it's a labor of love. But you have to wash them well. And you can always make a big bunch and freeze the rest. So if you're cooking collard greens for the first time, right? This is your first holiday, and they've said, you got the greens this year. Baby, if you bring canned collard greens to Thanksgiving dinner, you're gonna be laughed out the family, okay? They're gonna take your Smith Johnson Jones card, okay? Don't you bring no canned collard greens to the family. Don't even try to play it off. And then the other thing, if you're making greens for the first time, especially for your family, get a pulse on if your family eats pork or not, right? You don't wanna bring greens to the family gathering and you have people in your family that don't eat pork, okay? This ain't 85, it's 2025, and there are a lot of people that don't eat pork. Tip number 3 is you can make these the night before. You can heat them up the next morning. It takes time to pick these greens, wash them properly. I'm talking 4 or 5 times until the water runs clear. So you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to do that. And that's why making the collard greens the night before is best. So you've taken the stem out your collard greens, right? Now you got to wash them. Make sure your sinks are clean to capacity. And all you want to do is just drop your collards directly into your sink. And you want to fill your sink with cold water. Not hot water, cold water, okay? And I always add a little white vinegar in my water with my collard greens. Baby Dawn is good for a lot of things, but don't you dare put this to clean no collard greens, okay? About half a cup will do. This is a labor of love. Y'all see how that water is cloudy? You want to wash these greens until it's completely clear. And I'm just going to do the same process again. All right, round 2. I only do vinegar on the first 2 rounds, because after that, it should be pretty clean. It need to be squeaky clean. We ain't there yet, but we getting there. It's clearer than it was when we first did the first round. Round 3. Think we might be good after round 3. We'll see though. If that water ain't clear, we're gonna wash them again. Nice and clean. That water is clear. Our collards are clean. You can hear how squeaky clean they are. Now you want to stack them so you can tightly roll them, okay? I told y'all, making collards are a labor of love. But you want to stack them so you can roll them and cut them up into strips. When you hear your mama, your grandma, your aunt saying, I ain't doing this next year, this is why. Because making collard greens and making a big Thanksgiving meal alone is a lot of work. I'm of the mindset when you go home for the holidays, get in the kitchen with your folks to help out, not only to help out, but to learn the recipes that your family, that's been in your family for years. So all you want to do, as tightly as you can, is roll your collards like this. Turn them around, get you a sharp knife, and you just want to cut them into strips. Some people like the tear method. I like the cutting into strips method. And if you don't want your strips too big, you can cut it down the center and then cut it into strips. You can do that if you don't want your strips too big. Cutting them into strips helps them cook faster too. Layer them, roll them, cut them into strips. Now I'm just gonna put my collards that I have chopped up into this bowl until I've chopped them all up and have them ready for the pot. See how that is? You see how nicely, finely chopped they are? Our meat has cooked down, our collards are chopped up and ready to go. Ready to jump in this pot. See how this meat is, falling off that bone. That's what you need. Drop them in just like that. And these will cook down. Takes about an hour, 45 minutes for them to cook down and get nice and tender. Put the rest in. All right, y'all. The greens have cooked down just a little bit. So now I'm gonna drop my whole onion and whole garlic cloves in my greens. But I'm gonna remove these when my greens are done. All right, y'all, the greens are ready. I'm gonna take that whole onion out. Like I said, I don't want my vegetables cut up in mine. So I just season it with this whole onion. It's cooked to pieces. I'm just gonna discard it. I'm gonna put it on a plate. That garlic clove, It was 3 of them in here. Get that garlic clove out. Where is the 3rd one? Can't find it, it's okay. Now you want to break up that meat. Oh, here it go. Found ya. That's your collards. Now take this fat part out. I take the fat part out. You can leave it in if you want, but I'm gonna take that fat part out and just leave the meat that's in them collards. I'm about to burn my bread. But look how tender this meat is. That meat is so tender, like butter. And you got just enough meat. It's not overpowering with meat. These greens are ready, set. All you need is a bowl of greens and some cornbread. A little fresh tomato and some cucumber on the side to get you over. This is so good. And it's gonna taste just like home. It's the beauty of cooking at home. Look at that pot liquor. This is what we call Eastern North Carolina plate right here. This is all you need. You don't even need any meat. We got our collard greens, some cornbread. This is my father's crispy cornbread. This is how he would fry his cornbread. I got some fresh cucumbers here that I just added some apple cider vinegar to, salt and pepper, seasoned tomatoes. That's it. This is love on a plate. All right, y'all. Let's see if these collard greens are spilling the sweet tea approved. I already know the answer. Hot. 10 out of 10, and definitely spilling the sweet tea approved.